I'm huge on self-experimentation. So for me, what I tried was 3 different type of like day-to-days, right? Like the gym's a huge component to my life, and I always have that in my day-to-day. So for me, I'm up super early, like at 5, 6 o'clock, right? I got to get my morning routine in, my reading time to program my mind to play offense and to serve. If I get that done, I feel like I'm going to win the day. But what I experimented with was like, one time I went to the gym first thing in the morning, and then I tried to work the rest of the day.
I'm glad to have you guys on the show, man.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having us, Dom. I mean, really appreciate it. Always like willing to just, spread some value and do what we can to help.
Absolutely, man. I see it, man. I was checking you guys' YouTube page, so you guys have a podcast as well. It's awesome. Like, it's all about putting it out, that good energy, and it all comes back to you.
It is. And it's just the consistency of it. That's the challenge, but I mean, it's worth it over the course of years, how that compounds.
It really does. It really does. I'm still like, I'm fine. It's like the first year I've really like been going hard in the content game, and I feel like I'm loving every second of it, man. I'm loving every second of it.
Yeah. Right on, man.
So where did you guys begin your journey at? Well, I guess I ask Chris first and then Eric, because that's the way you guys came in here. But like, how did you begin training? Like, where's the origin story?
Yeah, great question. And I always like to take the listeners about 18 years ago. So we were 17 years old. We were seniors in high school, and we grew up in a really good, picture perfect life, man, with our family. Our dad was a correctional officer, prison guard at San Quentin State Prison. So he always was really big on instilling discipline, just work ethic, just a really good role model and mentor to us. And he unfortunately passed away 3 days before Christmas in our senior year. It was 2003. So it was tough. After that happened, our whole family kind of just, did a 360. And then after that, I remember I was sleeping that night, and I thought I was in a nightmare. And just, I remember waking up at 3 a.m. There was a California Highway Patrol officer and then a chaplain. It's not a good combination. And then I saw my mom just, on the floor screaming. So right then and there, I knew something happened that was really tragic, and my father never came home. I never got to say bye to him. So it's something that sticks with me till today, and it's very tough to swallow. But after that, 3 months later, her mom passed away due to cancer. So a ton of bricks hit our family. And then I felt like we lost part of our mom because she turned to antidepressant pills and alcohol. So Chris and I were kids, like we were very rebellious. We were very lost. And, we just turned to drinking. We got into a lot of trouble because it was all out of anger, and just, we had no guidance. Mm-hmm. So after that, man, what really saved us was fitness. It really did. We got into the gym. We would just go alleviate stress and anger by hitting the iron. We were just going through the motions through college, because that's what our dad wanted us to do, is continue going to college and finish education. But we were kind of like halfway mentally there with it. And then it wasn't until we stumbled across a magazine that's Muscular Development. And then Dr. Lane Norton wrote a column in there. And for some reason, like it resonated with us. We're like, man, who is this guy? He's a natural athlete. Like he has his PhD in nutritional sciences. So we're like, damn, we got to reach out to this guy and see what he's all about. So we did that, and we were blessed and grateful to have his mentorship for 5 years. So we learned everything he was doing, all his programming, how he built his online business. And this was early on, like 10 years ago. So after that, we wanted to hire more coaches to learn their craft, other pioneers to get better at the skill set of online coaching and personal training. And then, man, we just kind of took a leap of faith, and we're like, look, there's 2 of us. Like, we have enough knowledge. We have our certifications, everything. Like, let's build this online business called Dynamic Duo Training. And we never looked back since. So, we were able to scale that business to 6 figures for many, many years, worked with thousands of clients through fitness. And then the last 3 years, we completely pivoted to B2B coaching, helping fit pros create more income, impact, influence, and independence with an online component to their existing business now. So yeah, that's kind of the backstory on how we got into all this.
Awesome. Wow, that's a big story, man. That was a big transition in your lives. Like, that's like,
yeah,
it probably driven you so much to do like what you are now, and like that's awesome, man. Well, it's sad, but it's awesome that you took what happened to it and made it a better situation out of it.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I was gonna say too, like it's kind of like a blessing and a curse, man. I'd say the blessing was like, obviously, like what we're doing and stuff now. But I mean, obviously the curse was like, for like maybe 6 years, we kind of went through hell, like getting in trouble and just didn't really care. And then, obviously when we started building our business, man, it's just like, we had tunnel vision. That's all we did. We just kind of neglected like friends, family, just, it wasn't really a good thing. There definitely wasn't any balance. I'll tell you that. So, for anybody that's listening, I don't advocate that. You obviously, when you're building a business and a brand, you got to be selfish and you got to sit there and put in the reps and sets, but there has to be some sort of balance too, where it's like, you don't neglect your friends, families, miss out on the fun stuff because when time passes you up, you can't get that stuff back.
You definitely can't. You definitely can't. One thing I really like to do, I like how you said the reps and sets. I definitely feel like the fitness component is how I view everything else now. Just like, you got to get the reps in, you got to grind it out. You got to, get that last set. You got to break that PR. Do you guys feel like the same way with your business?
Yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead.
I'll say absolutely, man. I mean, like, it's just reps and sets. That's kind of like the secret, and nobody wants to hear about that because, these days we live in modern convenience, like a push of an app to get anything. They want instant gratification. You know what I mean? If there's a magic pill out there to kind of change people's body compositions, I probably bet they would take it, right? That's just kind of like the society we live in. But unfortunately, man, it's like when you put the sets and reps in, that's kind of like what gets you to where you need to get, from point A to point B. So I agree 100% with you, Dom. Like, I look at fitness just like that with business, other aspects of life. And just, that's just how it is. You got to put the reps and sets in to get better and learn and, eventually grow over time.
Yeah. It's almost like looking at it as a game. It's like, how do I get to that next level? Like every single year and just every single day, 1% better, how do I just, win this day? How do I learn something new? Just mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, the life of business, just acquire a little bit of wisdom, every single day.
Yeah, man. I think that game mentality is huge, man. It makes everything else feel so much easier. Like, you have a bad day, you have a bad game, it's all good. Now, do you guys do any like sports recreationally? Oh my gosh, recreationally now? I guess not with COVID, but do you guys do any sport? Like, do you have a favorite sport that you play now?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're huge basketball fans. We grew up playing soccer first because that's what our dad wanted us to play, but we fell in love with that. But then, man, we got into basketball around 6th grade and, just played all the way through our senior year. But we obviously didn't finish our senior year because that's when our father passed away. But we love basketball, like huge Warrior fans. I mean, we're still watching the NBA playoffs right now in the bubble. But yeah, I mean, basketball, soccer. I mean, I love football too. So huge sports advocate.
Yeah, I would say too, Dom, like right now, like I love boxing, like the past couple of years I've done boxing private lessons, and man, dude, like if you want to talk about something that kind of carries over into business and life, that is something I highly recommend anybody that's listening to take up some boxing lessons, and you'll see kind of like the carryover and the correlation.
Nice. I want to get, I'm trying to learn how to fight this year. I'm either going to do either jiu-jitsu or some kind of boxing, or maybe both. Like, it depends. I'm all about learning, all about the process of getting better. So I think that's the best way to be,
Hell yeah.
Just getting in what you can. Now with everything happening with COVID, I know you guys, majority of your business is online, but how did that affect like what you were doing?
Yeah. I mean, it actually did affect it, believe it or not, because we were doing kind of like a hybrid approach too with the business coaching, so when we started this B2B coaching 3 years ago, basically our core offer was, 6-hour VIP days in person here in LA. Right. So we would rent out basically like a WeWorks or anything like that. Right. And we'd have somebody fly over for wherever they were at, 6 hours, like intensive, like VIP session, breaking apart their whole entire business, how to add online training, how to build their brand, social media. And then after that, they would get like, Zoom calls, right. Just for accountability calls. But basically since COVID happened, we couldn't do that anymore. So we just had to kind of tweak up our model to kind of make it more virtual, more like kind of group style. So COVID took a hit on us, man. We had to pivot just like everybody else,
I see. Yeah, man. There's definitely a lot of pivoting, a lot of time to reflect on things, a lot of insight. Like, I just feel like, but I also feel like, it was obviously taking a adverse situation and making it a positive. I feel like it gave me personally like a lot more time to think about things, to kind of practice some things just for my daily routine that I never thought I could do before. Like, I've been meditating a little bit more now, or I'm doing a lot more cardio, and I was definitely more of a fit bro before. So I was like lift all the time, like cardio never. But now I'm going for runs. So I feel like I've definitely found some new things in myself. I'm like, oh, I like this more. I like this now. Have you found anything that you two like so far since the quarantine?
It's a great question. I think what's cool is the whole experiment that, the fact that I came back here to Northern California, where my mom lives, and Chris stayed there. He has his fiance over there. So I think it was cool that we experimented with that. There's a little bit of kind of like uncertainty, like, can we make this work with our business? But I mean, you know what? It's been awesome. Like we've made it work. We've been doing the podcast still, like everything, so it's just a true testament that you don't really have to be next to that business partner to make the business, continue to just run efficiently and grow. So that's what I've, a big epiphany for me. Other than that, it's just, man, I don't know. For me, it was a different situation. I was recovering from, tearing cartilage and tendons in my right foot playing basketball back in July. So it's been a nightmare of an injury, just recovering with that, doing like a stem cell procedure, doing multiple PRP injections to rebuild that cartilage and everything. So that's been my main focus, is like getting my health back and just really getting back to 100% where I know I'm capable of getting.
Yeah, and it was because I crossed him up over on the court, Dom.
Here we go. There we go.
He wishes.
Yeah. On a serious note, though, Dom, like for me, man, like this whole pandemic thing, it has been actually like a blessing too, man. That's the only way you can really reframe your mindset around this. And the reason being is because out here in LA, I mean, we were literally trying to do so many things at once, man. Mm-hmm. Like scatterbrain. We were dipping into like doing commercials, auditions all over LA, balancing calls, balancing VIP days, balancing out like, podcast interviews in person, not over Zoom, in person. So you can imagine what the day-to-day was on top of like, traffic, going to the gym, trying to be present with my fiance, just all these type of things. Right. So for me, it really made me realize what's important, what to focus on, and slow the hell down, the hell down.
Yep.
It definitely, slowing down. I think that's the biggest message for all of us during this time. Indeed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Indeed. Have you, like as far as like the time management thing, how have you, what are some of the things you do currently to kind of keep yourself focused on the ball? I know a lot of us have shiny object syndrome. I know I do. We're just like,
yeah, for sure.
What is your, what do you think is one of your best tips as far as like figuring out what your next move is?
Yeah, I'll go first on this, man. Like we were on a podcast a couple of days ago and this was like a similar question. And I said that I don't have this like one like size fits all type of thing. Everybody has their own tips, but for me, I'm huge on self-experimentation. So for me, what I tried was 3 different type of like day-to-days, right? Like the gym's a huge component to my life and I always have that in my day-to-day. So for me, I'm up super early, like at 5, 6 o'clock, right? I got to get my morning routine in, my reading time to program my mind to play offense and to serve. If I get that done, I feel like I'm going to win the day. But what I experimented with was like, one time I went to the gym first thing in the morning and then I tried to work the rest of the day. That didn't work great because I was sitting down most of the time. I was stuck here by the computer, right? Then I experimented with like going to the gym at night, right? After like 5 or 6 o'clock, I was done with work. That didn't work out either because I was burnt out and I hated the whole traffic at the gym type of thing, right? You know how that is. And then the third one that's worked really well for me is going to the gym midday, like 1 or 2 o'clock, breaking the day up that I have 2 work blocks, deep work blocks for 3 to 4 hours. And that's worked out really well for me, man. So I would say to anybody that's listening to this, self-experimentation with your day-to-day lifestyle, work blocks, getting the gym in, getting the morning in, like basically your non-negotiables like that you want to do.
Yeah, and I would totally agree with what Chris said on that. For me, I think just a simple little thing for the listeners to start with is just reframe your mindset and just kind of like the connotation around time management and reframe it to be time ownership, because you ultimately want to own that time, right? You don't want that time to be managed. So I think that's a good start. And then again, time blocks, like how do you really figure out like what's going to work for you and your schedule and your lifestyle, whether it's like 1 hour to 3 hour time blocks. But you can imagine, I mean, how efficient you can be even with just really just, honing down 1 hour, turn off your damn notifications, any distractions, and just literally get shit done for an hour. Like over the course of, 7 days, that's 7 hours. Then over the course of 4 weeks, that's 28 hours. So it's like, it's just compounding, right? And people don't really look at it like that. So you have to see the bigger picture with like the time ownership.
Absolutely. The combination of both, the fluidity of testing out different things, not being upset if you do something wrong, work out in the morning, work out in the afternoon, work out at night. Cause you never really know what works until you get it there. And that's like the best thing. And then I definitely, the time blocking thing is a big thing too. I read the one book, The One Thing by Gary Keller. He talks about that. And
amazing book.
One of my favorite books. That really got me on like the time blocking habit, because the time is going to get spent no matter what, but you got to invest in where you want to put it into, man. So that find that one thing, it's like, it's always the move. So I think that like you just reinforce. I love hearing things that like I already been put into my head and hear from somewhere else, because it just adds on more to it, as you get more focused and getting more driven. Yeah. Now, my question is, being twin brothers at that, like what's like the sibling rivalry, like the brotherhood? I got a lot of brothers too, so I know that being in business, like what's that like for you guys?
I think it's fun. For starters, it's fun. I mean, we have our challenges, but I think we're different people. We really, really are. For starters, I'm 1 minute older, so I always have that upper hand that he's the little brother. So we always joke about that
every time, doesn't he?
Yeah. But we're just different. Me, I'm more just like the laid back. I'm not really just, I don't worry as much, which I don't think that's like a good thing. But Chris is more kind of just like the worrier, right? But it's like, it's a good balance. Because if I were just like to do all that and just like not and just be so chill, like I think some things wouldn't get done, like little things wouldn't, would go through like the pipelines, as opposed to him, he's just more type A to where it's like, get this done. You know what I mean? So it balances, we balance each other out as business partners, but I would definitely say we still have like our challenges.
Yeah, couldn't agree more, man.
Oh man, but I'm sure he does that 1 minute thing in your face a lot, doesn't he?
He always does. But, I throw in little jabs too, man, with being the youngest brother out of 3, man. So, it's all good.
Yeah, man, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, that's funny though. It's fun though. Definitely fun.
That's awesome. When you, with like, everything going on right now, like there's so much stuff between the media and, COVID, like the world right now is definitely more in a intense state, and us being how we are, like I can tell you guys are kind of like a cool mindset to be keeping yourself calm and collective. But what are some things you've been doing to kind of keep yourself sane during this time? Because there's a lot of ways for you to kind of go a little more loony than you could.
Yeah, that's a great one, man. For me personally, again, it's like it starts off with the morning routine, man. If I take care of myself for a full hour and I'm sitting there reading, I'm listening to an audiobook, podcast, I'm journaling, I'm meditating. That's taking care of myself so I can program my mindset for the day, because every day is a battle, no matter what anybody says. And it's like, I got to put myself in a mindset to win that battle going forward. And then the other thing that helps out is going to the gym and then taking more frequent walks. I wasn't able to do that, because of just like being in traffic and just going from this place to that place. Right. But if you just go on more walks, man, there's this power behind it to where it just like clears your head and you can just get clarity. If you get clarity, I mean, man, dude, it's just like creative juices come in. I mean, all these different things start coming to you. So I would say just maybe try like more frequent walks just to clear your head.
Yeah, I mean, that's all great stuff. I do the same thing as Chris. And have you read the book, The War of Art, or The Art of War?
I haven't read that one yet, but it's on my list to read next.
Yeah, good book. And something that I just have really bought into what he said is, program your mind to win the war, not the battle, right? So for me, I know it's a long game. It's a long game of life. Every day, take it one day at a time. How do I get 1% better, right? So it's like, as long as I know that I'm controlling what I can and not stressing what I cannot control, like all these outside factors going on in society. Yeah. I mean, I think I'm okay. You know what I mean? I'm ahead of the game. I truly believe that. And again, it all starts with mindset. It's like the media, like you can't get so consumed with all this negative stuff in the media. And it's like, that is absolutely 100% your choice to sit there and consume that and let that, take over your mindset or even cause more paralysis and fear. So it's just about really controlling what you can, man, and just not stressing, what you can't.
That is the absolute truth, man. Like I try to preach as much as I can to people, like focus on what you can control no matter what, like, do what you can, go vote. But like, besides that, if you can't do anything about it, you can't touch it, you can't touch it, you can't influence it, then you're going to do what it's going to do.
Yeah. And that's one thing, man, too. Like, I hate when people say like, oh man, it's just like, they make these excuses or play the victim role. Like if somebody got elected, so that's going to like sit there and like alter them or bring down like their business or something like that. And it's like, come on, like, you know what I mean? It's like the election isn't going to sit there and affect your business and your work ethic and your mindset. That's your choice. That's how you perceive what's going to happen. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So you guys both being fitness nuts. What's like one of your like cheat things? So what's your favorite like cheat meal to eat?
I don't know, man. I'm not really I don't have like a huge cheat meal. I mean, I love a good pizza. I love sushi. Obviously, nice. I love my comida mexicana. But I like beer. I like having some beers, like IPAs on the weekend. So I know that's enough calories right there. So yeah, I'll have to go with that.
Yeah, that's my weak point, man. Like it's like I love beers on the weekend, and it triggers something in here. If I have like chips and salsa around, or if I have like a pizza or something like that, it's game over, man. I'll binge. I really will.
Absolutely, man. They all end up tying together. Once you have one, it's like the other things just start creeping in. A little bit of alcohol, the chips start looking better. You know, the pizza comes out,
Yeah.
little tacos. You know, you never know what's coming out next, man. That one switch would just turn it off. But then at the same time, once you have a good day of eating healthy, you're like, oh, you
Oh
can't
yeah.
even look at some things too,
Exactly.
man. So,
Yeah, because then the next day when you eat like crap, you're like, man, why is my stomach killing me? And it's like, here you go.
You're all swollen, like.
yeah, man. And you're in the bathroom way too long, can't get anything done. Yeah, man. Oh yeah, that was me last weekend, so I know exactly what you guys are talking about. Now, do you have any like new things that you're trying to shoot for this year or next year? Like anything that you really like, you're really trying to go for now? Is it more just growth for the business, or is it like you said, balancing your relationship with your fiance? Obviously, I'm sure that's a lot of time you had. Do you have any like big goals you're shooting for now individually?
I mean, man, like I really kind of like living my lifestyle around the 4 pillars of health, love, and happiness. You know what I mean? So it's like, if I could sit there and make mini goals each month on all 4 of those pillars, and one of them is not too out of whack, right? That's what I've learned over the years. If one's too out of whack, that means that the other ones are just kind of like just unbalanced, right? I'm always trying to balance every one of them. I mean, you're never going to get them all like balanced, man, at the end of the day, but as long as I'm shooting for them, getting better at that, that's kind of how I live my life, man. So I wouldn't say there's anything like necessarily like this huge like goal of mine. I mean, this year was like a curveball for everybody, you know what I mean? But I think like we've adapted to it really well and kind of pivoted well and just making the best of it. So for me, I'm just, focused on, Q4, coming up soon, and just kind of finishing off the year strong and just getting ready for the new year and just seeing what goes on, man, and trying to balance those pillars.
Yeah, no, and I would say health, just continuing to just, get my foot back to where it needs to be. And then we haven't really talked about this to anybody because we just made a decision on this last week, and we're actually going to be making a huge move, next month to Dallas, Texas. So
Nice.
it's just something we've been talking about, for a long time. I mean, we're Cali boys at heart, but, we see the bigger picture and we want to get ahead. And we've been to Texas. There's a lot of good people we know over there. It's a good community, good economy. So yeah, it's going to be a big move. So I think that that's going to be the number one focus going forward is how do we establish ourselves there? And, how do we really set ourselves up for success going into 2021? So that's kind of like what's really just on my mind going forward.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. I
Yeah.
hear a lot of people are thinking about going to Texas from over here.
Yeah.
Like I know Joe Rogan did that, and like
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a lot of people moving over there in waves. But I think one of the coolest things about us being in this time period, working on our personal brands and doing stuff online is that like you can go to Texas and like you probably already have some fans there too, which is like it's amazing how much reach you have
Yeah.
without even leaving, your physical space that you are.
Exactly. No, well said. And that's the power of building a powerful network. You know what I mean? Everywhere you go, it's like you're going to have people that and then you can just ask them like, hey, can you hook me up with somebody here and this and that? And that's the beauty of it. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs don't take enough advantage of that, and they always use the excuse, say, oh, it's like I'm an introvert, but it's like at some point you got to put yourself out there. And I'm going to say, just go with the intention of giving, just be a giver, not a taker. And you'd be amazed. Like, again, compounding, right? How much that will compound over the days, weeks, years, and how much people you have in your Rolodex when you need them.
Yeah. As cliche as that, it's not your network, it's your net worth. Not your net worth, it's your network. You hear it. There's so many things you hear, like the basics, do your squats, eat your broccoli,
Yeah.
everything that sounds completely uncool and like, all right, I heard that every single time. Be yourself. And you think about it and it's like, no, that kind of was just it. That was just
Yeah.
it, be a giver. Yeah, like it's funny the more you think about it's like the fundamentals really are just everything,
Yeah.
How many
Exactly.
times the scales, how many big songs are just the scales all over again or just one note at a time. And I think that like the mindset's definitely everything. That's like one of the biggest things I try to preach to people. And like obviously you guys are the same thing, like, having your mindset and mentality be in the right place and then kind of just taking the things that go with it, whether it be with fat loss going up and down or your business going up and down, things are going to fluctuate, things are going to change.
Yep.
But as long as you're good up here, that's what really matters.
Absolutely.
And I think that's where everything should be.
Yeah. I mean, man, you just think about it. Like, I don't know about your upbringing, but ours, man, it's like our parents, like, were great, but they obviously probably could go back in time back. I could have done some stuff differently. Right. But it's like, we're all kind of raised with these like self-limiting beliefs, you know what I mean? Whether it's like imposter syndrome, fear of getting started, failure, money, like scarcity around money, so many different ones, and it's kind of like that leads to your mindset, and it really, really inhibits people from like taking action and living their maximum potential. Right. So you got to break those false beliefs in order to kind kind of just like live like to your maximum potential.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So fellas, for anybody that wants to follow you guys and check you guys out, how do they get in contact with you?
Yeah, the best way is Instagram at chris&ericmartinez. If you're a fitness professional, we just came out with our new book, Rise of the Fit Pros, How to Create More Income, Impact, Influence, and Independence. So check that out at riseofthefitpros.com or even Amazon. Yeah, we'll hook you up with the book as well too. So
appreciate that.
Yeah. And then we have a free lead generation PDF for fitness professionals at dynamicfitpros.com/masterclass. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And then, check out our podcast, Dynamic Lifestyle Podcast as well too.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for being on the show. Appreciate all the mental gems you guys dropped today. It was fantastic. Guys, thank you so much for listening, and take care.
Right on, Dom.